Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. Our guest today is a young lady, Pankhuri Jha. She is a very entrepreneurial young woman, I should say. She had a concept that came to her mind, an idea when she was volunteering over in India a few years back. She had an idea, she discussed it with her family, and this is something that is impacting people all over the world. It's involving people all over the world. So this is a global concept that she came up with, and I am super impressed with the outcome of it as well. I have a few samples which I will share later. But before that, I would like to welcome Pankhuri over at Foundations TV. Welcome, Pankhuri.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, a pleasure. Why don't we get started with, just a little bit about you, who you are, and what grade you're in, what school do you go to, what your interests are. So just kind of a brief introduction of yourself.
Yeah, so as Ms. Janna said, my name is Pankhuri Jha. I'm a freshman at the Johns Hopkins University, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. At Johns Hopkins, I hope to pursue a major in neuroscience. It's something that really interests me and has been a very interesting topic to me since I was in 9th or 10th grade in high school. Besides neuroscience, a big passion of mine is medicine. In fact, I hope to become a surgeon one day, a little ways down the road. So that's a very big passion of mine. Along with neuroscience and medicine, I have several other hobbies. I love to play tennis whenever I receive the time, whether it be here at home or at Johns Hopkins. It keeps me happy. It keeps me going during the very tough school year. I also write for a science and history-oriented magazine called The Triple Helix at Johns Hopkins, which I most recently wrote an article about moral judgments, which is, in the field of neuroscience and how we make those judgments and how that affects us as a society. Wow. And that's definitely what I'm interested in. And my last interest has to be volunteering. It's something very close to my heart, something that I've been known to do just in and out the community. I love volunteering, whether it be here in Philadelphia where I reside or overseas.
Okay, so speaking of volunteering, tell us something about your volunteering opportunity that you had. Well, was it right after middle school, is it, that you went to India for that?
It was right after my freshman year, actually, ninth grade. It was during the summer of 2010, and I had just Googled, as we all do these days, any places that would be interested in having me as a volunteer. And I found a couple of email addresses, and I ended up emailing Dr. Shaheen Ansari, who is now my mentor for this magazine, Baal Chaupaal, and he works for a foundation called Architect India. And I was in communication with him, and he was he's such a fantastic mentor, he still is. And I was able to communicate with him, and he was able to allow me to volunteer at a homeless shelter in New Delhi called Umeed Aman Ghar. It's a homeless shelter that houses young boys aged 6 to 17. And I volunteered there for 6 weeks when I went and visited India in the summer of 2010. And while I was there, I taught the boys English and mathematics, two of the subjects that they chose. It was of their choosing, and it was, to say the least, a phenomenal experience. I'm so grateful that I live in a community where I, take advantage of the opportunities that are given to me, but those boys really had nothing. Their pencils were broken, they sat on the floor, their notebooks were torn, and their clothes barely covered their bodies, yet their enthusiasm to learn was infectious. And it was because of that volunteering that, I talked to Dr. Ansari, and I was like, we have to do something for these kids. I'm going back to the United States, and it's going to be hard for me to come back every break and volunteer. And I think that's where the magazine was kind of brought to fruition first time.
So now tell us about this lovely magazine. I have a few samples. that your mom
Yeah.
actually sent me, and I was going through this, and it seems like an absolutely phenomenal concept. I see.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's a diverse style that, you see all collected in one form of a booklet, coming from various parts of the world, and there's poetry, there's short stories, there's pictures, there's just thoughts, fiction, nonfiction, all sorts of collections in here. And it's really, and the cover design and the whole thing, putting something like that together, I'm sure that must have been, a lot of work and a lot of thought process to begin with. So how did it come to your mind?
Yeah, so the magazine came to my mind right after the volunteer experience during the summer after my freshman year. And I think it was the last week. And it kind of hit me that I was not going to be able to volunteer there anymore. And you don't really recognize that feeling in the beginning. You kind of take it for granted. And then the last few days, I was like, I'm not going to come back. And I really hope to, but with school and everything, it would be a very difficult task. So I reached out to Dr. Shaheen Ansari, and as if he did not do, enough for me already, I threw some ideas at him, and I said, look, I would love to do something for these guys back home in the U.S., whether it be to create some kind of curriculum for them, or via Skype I can teach them, or something, but I want to stay connected with these kids because they are very special to me. They have come so far, over these 6 weeks, and I want them to learn and take advantage of everything I want to offer. And he said, okay, you're pause. Let's hit the stop button for a second. And why don't you think about what you can do? And I threw some ideas back and forth. I talked to my parents. They really helped me out with this magazine. I have them to thank, really do. And the idea of a global children's magazine came to mind. And that was because, I personally feel as a child, I'm still a teenager. I'm a long way from adulthood. But, children have a difficult time expressing themselves in today's society. And it's not easy for children to stand up for what they believe in, just given the different pressures, given their condition in society. We're not, we don't choose what conditions we're born into. And given all of that, I thought, why not have a magazine or some kind of platform where children can express themselves? And since I already, tried to teach the children, some English, let's put that to use and let's see what they can come up with.
Wow.
And by reading their own work and writing their own work and reading others' works, I thought, they could learn by themselves, and they can learn from others around the world, adults and children from all different backgrounds and cultures, and just to help promote, their education and their learning.
Wow. So did you actually have some of those boys who you trained write for the magazine as well?
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
We actually did. And they were short pieces, which is okay. You can't expect them to write, books. But the fact that they were, very willing, and I told you before, their enthusiasm was infectious. Just being in the same room and having them run up to the chalkboard and write, apple and B, it was really something special.
Excellent. So I know you opened it up to a lot of different audiences, or actually contributors, I would say.
Yeah.
So now you do have people contributing, both underprivileged as well as privileged world, right?
Yes.
So all over. So how do you get these? I know it's a huge project, like it's all global. So how do you reach out to people, or how people connect with you? How do they find out about you?
Right. So I can honestly say the biggest way is word of mouth. I first talked to my friends and family about this idea, and they talked to their friends and family. And the second biggest way is definitely social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. Those are definitely the biggest ones. I think that just talking to people over Facebook and having them like our page, which is Baal Chaupaal, very simple. Just having to talk to them and seeing what ideas they would like and they have, and what ideas they might have to the magazine was something that I was very thankful for. We not only accept, articles from people, we also accept artwork of several different kinds, whether that be paintings, drawings, and photography.
Wow.
And, we like to maintain a certain, let's say, ratio of the pieces that we receive. And we usually like to keep that about 25% of the articles should be from underprivileged children. And, since I told you they're just slowly learning English, and they have been, we also like them to submit their pieces in Hindi because, that's the first kind of batch of children that we're trying to help. And since their native language is Hindi, we do accept pieces that are written like that. And it just speaks to the diversity of the magazine. I mean, I hope 10 years down the road we have some articles written in German and some articles written in French.
I'm sure you will, dear. I'm sure you will,
yeah. I really, really hope so. And
I can feel that passion in you. I can definitely do that.
And the other 25% we like to have from adults who are very passionate about children's rights, and maybe like Dr. Shaheen Ansari, people like that. And the other 50% are from people like myself, people on the editorial board, and other children and adults around the world who are willing to contribute. But the ways that we receive the content are definitely through word of mouth, emailing, and social networks.
Wonderful. So now you have the articles and you have an editorial board who's looking through them, deciding what goes in print. Where are you printing the magazine?
Yeah, so the magazine is published in India. It's designed in India, and it is printed there as well.
Okay.
And that's, because of costs and funding. Obviously, it would be better and it would be more preferable if it was printed in India.
Yes.
So
but
that's
the
where
quality
it's
is excellent. So I have to congratulate you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a treasure indeed, and especially hearing the story behind it, I think it makes it even more valuable. So
yeah.
That's great. So how often do you publish one initially?
Yeah, so Baal Chaupaal is published 4 times a year. We try to keep it like that in March, June, September, and December. We have currently sent our 6th issue. It's in the works. It's being printed as we speak. And so I told you that's our 6th issue. And we usually like to print about 1,000 copies per issue.
Okay. Then how do you distribute those 1,000 copies?
We distribute it the same way that we receive the content, through friends, family, word of mouth, and social networking sites. And obviously mail has been the biggest way. And if anybody's interested, it's $4, US dollars, and they can go and contribute on our website, which is www.baalchaupaal.org. And once we receive the order, we ship it out to them. And if they'd like to subscribe, instructions for that are on the website as well.
Excellent. That
Yes.
is so impressive that you have all this set up, this whole network set up for you. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. So how far is it going right now? Is it in the U.S., India? Which other countries is it going to right now?
It's incredible. We received content for the past couple of issues from countries like Australia, Germany, Ghana, China, Canada, obviously India, and the United States. And I think those are the, first few countries that we wish to have. But we have a team working in India and in the United States. So we received content from everywhere, and I think that's just amazing. It's just mind blowing to me, and I'm one of the founders. So
yeah, this is an amazing journey. The whole story is really, really amazing. To be able to come up with a concept and then bring it to reality, and it's having a global, contribution coming in. That's absolutely phenomenal. So I hear that word of mouth is the biggest. What exactly do you need from them? Like people who are listening to this interview, can you spell out things that you would like to have from them? What's your ask?
Right, yeah. So people can help out in so many ways, but I must say that one of the biggest ways is by donating. One of the main goals of Baal Chaupaal is not only for people to write and submit and learn from others, but, we need to keep the magazine going. And as a result, funding is very, very important. All of the proceeds that we receive go towards shelters like Umid Amankar, and the funds are used to hire teachers and buy textbooks for the children to learn. We are a nonprofit organization, and as I said before, the best way would be to go on our website, and if you're interested in purchasing a magazine or subscribing to Baal Chaupaal, then there are instructions to do so online. And the second way is to contribute something, visit our Facebook page and, quickly, message or send me an email at pankhuri.jha@baalchaupaal.org. That would be phenomenal if you guys could submit anything, whether it be artwork or writing of any topic of your choosing. And the best thing about Baal Chaupaal in my eyes is that it's not limited to, adults. And you don't have to be 18 years or older. You could be any age. You just need someone to send in the content. So definitely write and submit. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or send in a question on, the Facebook page. We'd be more than willing to help you. And I can't wait. I really hope the word gets out, and I think this is just the first step in doing so.
Excellent. Well, it was such a pleasure to chat with you today. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.